Hey guys, I'm going to answer some frequently asked questions as a homeschooler. We've been doing it for over a decade now. And I'm going to be making my tea. Today I went to the farm and I was just asked some questions by a local lawyer who handles cases where kids had to be taken out of the school system, and a lot of parents are wondering, what resources do we have in the state of Virginia? So for those that want to start, you can go to heav.org to get started. All the state of Virginia requires is for you to have a GED equivalent, and then you have to turn that in to the superintendent of your district to prove that you are able to teach your kid. With me having an advanced degree, master's degree in education, it's never been a problem, but most of my colleagues on some of these Facebook groups, they only have a high school diploma, and so they just turn in their high school diploma to the superintendent. Then you turn in your NOI, which is the notice of intent for you to homeschool. It's usually due in beginning of August, and you can find that on the heav.org website. It's just a one-page document that states, that you're homeschooling, what a general outline of your curriculum is. They don't care what curriculum you use. I've done everything from virtual to workbooks to buying an actual curriculum. They do not care. They're not going to check on you. Okay? At the end of the year, like June, July, then they start asking you in an email or in a letter like, hey, it's due. End of year exams, end of year testing, end of year evaluation is due. Now, there's 3 different ways that you can choose to be evaluated in the state of Virginia. I have chosen the easiest way to be evaluated. You can choose from a list of tests that they take. I take academicexcellence.com, which is a California achievement equivalent of a standardized test. It is a $20 non-timed, untimed test that 2nd through 12th grade can take. It's just basic knowledge, math, reading comprehension, spelling, word problems, logic, stuff like that. And we've never had a problem passing it or failing it. They only see what you physically email or turn in the mail. So if your kid is having struggles, we go back, we reteach, we redo a section. When I feel confident that they feel good about that section, then I turn that section in to the state. And that's as long as they see that your kid is making progress, as long as you're in the right quartile, the right percentile. We've never had a problem in the overall. They only take the cumulative quartile. They don't take each individual subject, which has been great because spelling has always been an issue in this house. Reading comprehension has always been a struggle early on. But my older kids are now doing better at those subjects. But overall, their cumulative score has never been below what is required. So that gets turned in through an email or through a letter printed off to the superintendent, and then they just give you a letter back saying, great, you are certified homeschool again. So that is literally the basics, nuts and bolts. There's literally so many different ways to do it. I've seen people that go twice a week to a church. They go 3 times a week to like a co-op homeschool group. I've seen people work in pods. I've seen people do it on their own like we do. We just make up whatever we want to study. I have tried most curriculums. For me personally, I didn't want, knowing that curriculums are very expensive, I didn't want to be, having $1,000 to $2,000 and $3,000 per kid per year. Like, that's not feasible. What is feasible for me is to spend money on memberships, trips, museums. Jamestown is local to us. Williamsburg is local to us. Charlottesville is local, semi-local to us. Going to Richmond, going to DC, paying for the memberships to these museums. That is a better investment for me. And so what I decided to do to put more money into those types of hands-on situations or camps or STEM camps or stuff for the church that we're doing with their youth group or retreats, whatever. I want money to go to experiences and to time with your friends and community building and that kind of thing, instead of money going to a curriculum that's very rigid. And what if I don't like it, when the kids don't like it? What I've discovered is YouTube has an entire K through 12 course called Crash Course for Kids. They have SciShow Kids. They have Crash Course for high school kids as well. And so we've just been going through all of the Crash Course series. It's sponsored by PBS. With Disney Plus, you have access to the National Geographic. They have tons of great content on there, documentary films. We have a membership to a local educational IMAX theater at a science center, like 30 minutes away from me. So we do that like once a month and go see their documentary IMAX film in 3D, which is really cool. So we do everything from volcanoes to asteroids to Native American cultures to, history of the world and, fossils and paleontology, whatever. So we're learning pretty much at every single level all at once. And so the older kid, my 11-year-old, helps with the younger one and does the kindergarten, does the first grade types of things and works on the handwriting and works on, doing board games every day with them and reading. Make sure reading is done every day. Make sure we have some kind of board game time every day. Make sure we have some kind of physical education every day, whether it be going on a hike, going on a walk, going on a bike ride, going to the trampoline park. For us, education is just multifaceted, and so I'm not gonna just say sit in a desk for 8 hours because I don't learn like that. I'm not gonna make my kids learn like that. So I would rather okay, in the morning, let's do our YouTube things. Let's do Math Antics, which is another awesome YouTube math channel. Let's work through the problems together. Let's do a board game. Let's go outside and go hiking. We're in coastal Virginia, so there's literally hiking trails 2 minutes from our houses. Go out there. We have home businesses on property, so we can always hey, go out with Dad and do a wood workshop in the back. Help me set up a set in my photo studio. Help me organize stuff, organize props. We got to go to Hobby Lobby to pick up stuff. So we're on the go, and as we're on the go, as we're in the car, we're watching National Geographic. We're watching the YouTube things I just listed. We're discussing current events in the car. We're discussing what will we do if we were in the situation. What do these terms mean? And so honestly, it's just an organic flow throughout our day. All the kids know how to cook. They know how to clean. They know how to do basic meals. They know how to help me around the house. They know I have a list of chores every day that they all help out. We're all part of this work, family, environment, self-employed life together. And so they know hey, you don't get screen time. We try not to do screen time, actual video game screen time, until 4 p.m. when I'm cooking dinner, or my husband's cooking dinner. And so that way they have their set schedule. They have their checklist that they have to do. We also make sure that they all have pedometer watches. And so that's also a personal goal for them to help them stay task-oriented, to make sure that they're getting their 10,000 steps a day before they can earn screen time or video game time. I did not talk about the second and third way that you can be evaluated in Virginia. Sorry, forgot, had to refilm. So the first way was testing. You can choose from a variety of different tests. The second way would be to get an actual certified evaluator to come and look over an entire binder of writing samples and photos of field trips you've been on and math samples and that kind of thing for each kid. And you have to pay them. That's their job. I did not want to deal with that because owning multiple businesses, I just didn't want to have all these samples. I had to print off, make copies, have all these binders. I didn't want to deal with that. If the test is good enough for the state board, that's fine. I am totally fine with not having that high pressure to have my kids have to pass, evaluations or whatever. And then third way is for you to actually become religious exempt, and you can just say, sorry, but I don't basically believe in evaluations. So I know several people that that is the checkbox that they choose when they decide to do the NOI and they decide to, tell them that they're evaluating. They can just choose to be religious exempt, and there's no, transcript or anything. I chose kind of a middle ground because I wanted some type of transcript, some type of proof that my kids are learning, so that when they go to higher education, they go to, that kind of situation, I can see progress. I can see exactly what we're learning. And so that's why I chose that route. But I chose the untimed because I didn't want there to be a lot of pressure. and frustration, because for me, learning should never be at frustration level. If we're trying to just get to a test and get it done, then we're not learning it. We're just hacking through it. And that's not a good life lesson, I don't think. But anyway, keep watching for more hints. So they know, like, hey, you know, you don't get screen time. We try not to do screen time, like actual video game screen time, until like 4 p.m. when I'm cooking dinner, or my husband's cooking dinner. And so that way they have their set schedule, they have their checklist that they have to do. We also make sure that they all have pedometer watches, and so that's also a personal goal for them, to help them stay task oriented, to make sure that they're getting their 10,000 steps a day before they can earn screen time or video game time. But yeah, that's basically, in an 8-minute to 10-minute video, what we do on a kind of a day-to-day, what that looks like for us. We go year-round. I like to do 1 to 2 hours a day year-round, then 8 hours a day, 8 months, 9 months out of the year. Like, that's not going to help me. I hate reteaching stuff. I hate going back and relearning stuff. Like, I'd rather just keep with the flow. Like, hey, it's July, we're going to go on a trip. Bring your books with you. Bring your workbooks with you. I go to Barnes & Noble. I go to Amazon. I find like whatever the recommended. Brain Quest has an awesome series. I have every one of their books from K through 12. Brain Quest, highly recommend. And we go through page by page together. We're working through stuff. And so that's kind of our general flow, what we do, how we get approved from the state of Virginia, how that looks like in our work and our life balance. And hopefully that answers questions for you guys. Can't wait to see what you guys are doing. If you're a homeschool family, comment below. You can follow us here on our different social media platforms and see what we've been up to. All right, peace out, guys.